What is flanking? Why is flanking such an effective technique? How can you prevent being flanked by your enemy? And finally, what can you do to help become better at flanking? Hello, I am Amedeo602, and I'm going to answer all of these questions and more right now. In today's video, we are going to explore the strategic maneuver of flanking. What is flanking? Simply put, flanking is the technique of attacking your opponent from the side instead of engaging them head-on. This technique is extremely effective, especially when you don't have very good weapons or equipment. On the screen now, you are about to see an extended engagement unfold, where we attack a group of enemies head-to-head. They know where we are, and we know where they are. Assuming that both sides are equally well equipped, and neither side has a significantly better position, this is roughly a 50-50 gunfight. It's almost like flipping a coin as to which side will win. In a battle royale game, you have to win, or at least not lose, all of your engagements in order to win the game. Let's say you have 5 engagements like this in a game. What are the odds of flipping a coin and getting heads 5 times in a row? The odds are only 1 in 32, or about 3%. For every time you can remove a 50-50 gunfight, either through better equipment or better strategy, you remove one of those 50-50 chances and increase your chance to win. Consider the engagement happening on the screen right now. We have a better position than this team. I ended up flanking them and combining the flank with a concussion grenade. By doing this, I was able to increase our odds of winning the engagement significantly and easily picked up a double kill. But this double kill didn't happen by luck. It was a combination of using high ground, equipment, and flanking all to my advantage.
Travel to indicated safe zone.
A prime time to flank is when the enemy is in another gunfight, as shown here. The first guy, hiding behind this RAV4, should have been able to kill me, but I managed to stun and then down him. His teammate was busy engaging in another gunfight and had no chance of staying alive once I managed to track him down. Now that everyone understands what it means to flank and has seen a couple of simple examples, let's move on to our second question. Why is flanking such an effective technique? There are actually several reasons for this, but they all boil down to getting the first shot on the enemy. Our first and most obvious reason to flank is to quickly kill the enemy with little risk to you or your team. If you are beside them instead of in front of them, they simply cannot see you, and you usually have plenty of time to kill them before they can even react. Even if they do react, the best they can usually do is get away from you, in which case we then proceed to a 50-50 head-to-head gunfight. Take this gameplay clip for example. I volunteered to distract this team at the electric tower so Gray Fox could flank them from the other side. Watch out for all of these missed shots right here. I wasn't trying to hit them with the grenade either. I was just distracting them to cover Gray Fox's approach. It worked beautifully, since they were so focused on me they didn't notice him until it was too late. Once they did notice him, of course the remaining team member predictably shifted his focus to Gray Fox, which gave me the opportunity to then attack from the other side and finish the job. This sort of tag team flanking is very effective. In the next clip, you'll see a different form of flanking where Gray Fox acts as the bait, and I'm in a very unpredictable position, which also gives me a line of sight on the enemy if they decide to go after Gray Fox and take the bait. I like to call this bait and switch flanking, since you're baiting the enemy with one member of the team, and then covering the enemy's approach with a field of fire from another teammate. This forces the enemy to switch their focus onto the second teammate, or die trying to take the bait. This sort of flanking can be dangerous, however, as the bait can sometimes be downed or killed, and the flanking teammate is usually too far away to revive them.
Exactly how we
As we just saw, the second reason why flanking is so effective is that when players are engaged in a gunfight, they tend to focus all of their attention on that gunfight and ignore everything else. In psychology, this is known as inattentional blindness. Some people might even call it a temporary form of tunnel vision. Regardless of the name, the results are the same. While focused on a single task, it's very possible that we become unable to notice other things because we are so focused on the task at hand. This phenomenon is something we should definitely take advantage of in order to win more gunfights and more games. The third and final reason that flanking is so effective is more specific to console players, and that is the field of view. For anyone who doesn't already know, the field of view, or FOV, is the amount of the play area that is visible on your screen. The larger your FOV, the more things you can see in front of you. In real life, having a smaller FOV would be similar to using your hands to block your peripheral vision. A lower FOV blocks more, so you cannot see very well off to the side. For Black Ops 4 on console, I believe the FOV is hard-coded to 80 degrees, but if I get that wrong, please let me know in the comments below. On PC, the FOV, however, can be changed in the game settings. Since it's not configurable on console, we actually have an easier time flanking on console than PC players do. Oh, and just in case anyone ever wondered why Call of Duty players on PC seem to move faster than console players, there's an optical illusion which comes about as a result of adjusting the FOV on the PC. As I just explained, increasing the FOV adds more of the play area to your screen. You're still moving at the same speed, but since more of the play area is being drawn on the screen, you appear to be moving faster. Kinda cool, huh? Now let's move on to our third question. How can you prevent getting flanked by your enemy? In this gameplay clip, we have high ground and a pretty good position on top of this building. We begin engaging a squad on the beach since we have the advantage and are about to be pushed out by the storm. But we need to be careful. Keep an eye on the minimap. The sensor dart plays a vital role in alerting us to the fact that we were about to be flanked and lets us take care of the problem without enduring any casualties on our team.
Headshot.
If we had suffered from tunnel vision and focused too heavily on the enemies on the beach, there's a very good chance that the enemy on the sensor dart would have gone unnoticed and attacked us from behind later. This is the key to avoiding being flanked. Pay attention to your surroundings, especially when engaged in a gunfight. Actively scan the area around you whenever possible to make sure no one is trying to sneak up on you. If your enemy is taking cover behind a tree to heal or reload, for example, don't just watch the tree and wait for them to come out. Watch the rest of the area around the tree as well to make sure someone else isn't flanking you. If you're wearing a headset, be sure to pay attention to footsteps and other audio cues which could alert you to enemy presence. In short, maintain your situational awareness, and don't focus too much on one group of enemies. It's now time to tackle our final question. What can you do to become better at flanking?
Headshot.
Just like most other things, you need to practice to improve at flanking. If you notice that your team is engaged in a prolonged firefight, which could lead to a stalemate, try circling around to one side or the other. If you're in the middle of your group during a prolonged firefight, encourage someone else to take a flank while you keep the enemies suppressed. You can also try to predict enemies' movements and try to flank them as they move to the next circle. Another easy way to practice flanking is to wait for a firefight to break out near you, and then act as a third party and simply surprise one of the groups which is already engaged. While flanking, remember that the key is to move to an unexpected position to the side of your opponent as quickly and as quietly as possible in order to avoid being detected. If you have time during a flank, it is also advantageous to go for a headshot whenever possible to minimize the possibility of your opponent being able to survive the engagement. And of course, don't forget about using perks like Dead Silence, Skulker, and Mobility to help you when you're flanking. Equipment can also be extremely useful. Combat axes can be used to quickly and quietly dispatch an enemy. Concussion grenades can stun enemies that might have seen you during your approach. and smoke grenades can be used to confuse or distract enemies. You can also use the storm for brief periods of time in order to flank your opponents. This technique is very risky at the end of the game and should only be used in extreme circumstances. We've now looked at several different types of flanks. We've seen a flank which allowed a combat axe to win against a regular gun. We've seen a combination of flanking from high ground using a concussion grenade to create a double kill opportunity. We've also explored two special flanking techniques using a team member as bait.
Headshot.
In the electric tower example, we used a technique that I like to call tag team flanking, where team members alternate between flanking and firing. In the turbine example, we use a tactic I like to call bait and switch. In the bait and switch, just remember that bait will sometimes get downed and possibly even killed, so it's very important to make sure that the switch, that would be the second team member who's covering the approach of the enemies, make sure the switch is ready and in position in order to keep the bait alive. We've also seen a smoke grenade used as a distraction, as well as engaging an enemy who is already distracted by another gunfight. We've seen an example of using dead silence to create a great flanking opportunity, and we've learned that we need to maintain situational awareness and make use of equipment like sensor darts to avoid being flanked ourselves. In our final gameplay here from Alcatraz, we can also see what a successful but very risky endgame storm flank can achieve. Watch the gameplay. Notice that I have a trauma kit equipped. This is a very high damage storm, and I'm going to use it to silently approach the last two enemies and kill them both with a shotgun to win the game.
Double kill.
But that's enough from me. Now it's your turn. What other flanking techniques have you successfully used? Let me know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, please remember to press the thumbs up button as it really helps out the channel. And if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, please subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you don't miss anything. As always, thank you very much for watching.